Now, imagine being able to steal talent. Who would this skill actually be useful for? I'll tell you who. Meet our protagonist, Elric Melvinger, a part of a very prestigious magical family, and if you haven't guessed already, he's a son of a bitch with no magical prowess. But it's not all his fault. He was cursed with a magical blockage disease that inhibits his magical ability. So let's set the scene. 30 years ago, a war breaks out between the demons and the humans, and the Melvinger family were essentially the nuclear deterrent the humans needed, and they won the war. Sadly, a lot of the Melvingers involved were killed, and soon after, Elric's parents passed away also. Now, all that was left was Elric and his older sister, and of course the vessel families that served the Melvinger household. But of course, in this twisted world, loyalty doesn't actually exist. All of the vassal families betrayed the Melvinger family, and on that day he promised himself he would exact his revenge on everyone that tried to fuck with him, and of course become a great magician. But there was one issue. Even though his magic intuition was second to none, he absolutely sucked at magic. Like, he couldn't even make a magic circle. I mean, this is of course due to the blockage disease, but still, I mean, not even a circle, my guy? How could someone like this be a part of the Melvinger household? All these questions surged around in your mind, and you wonder, is he just pathetic, or is he just cursed for the rest of his life? Then he met a dragon. He met this dragon on an assignment from his dickhead principal, who is praying for Elric's downfall, and is obviously targeting Elric's family heirloom, as he clearly believed this will grant him some sort of extraordinary power. But in this dragon, Elric saw an opportunity to revive his dead family name and retain some form of dignity as a Melvinger. But just as a glimmer of hope entered his mind, it very quickly left as the dragon died instantly in front of him. And he then learnt that the Demon King gave him a test while he was window shopping for a new vessel. And while the Demon King tried to take over Elric's body, Elric finally portrayed his dormant magical prowess and subdued the Demon King and turned him into a fun little ghost friend. Now after this, instead of Elric returning to school, he goes on a journey of self-discovery and to discover sacred Melvinger hideouts where new magic could be attained. And that's it, to be honest. The story is essentially one man's road to redemption and how he plans on reviving the Melvinger name and actually doing their magical accomplishments justice. Now, Elric as a character is not inherently righteous. In fact, he's known to be a little bit of a twat, his nickname being the worst of the Melvinger family. I think him being this way tremendously helps with the story. Imagine he was a goody two-shoes protagonist that always wanted to help and never wanted to gain anything. I mean, that's great and all, but have some balls, lie, cheat, steal, have an ulterior motive, be toxic. I'm not saying Elric is all of these things. He may be some of them, but not all. But what I'm saying is he shouldn't just gain power, kiss some ass, and help every Tom, Dick, and Harry he sees. With Elric, you get a sense that even though he's not the bad guy, and of course he's more than willing to help, he always puts himself first. Now back to Elric being a twat. The best thing about this manhwa is that he's not willing to back down and take rubbish. Time and time again, we've seen countless protagonists originally get bullied to some extent and are complete pussies. Excuse my French. Now I'm not making light of being bullied at all, but in the realm of fantasy, sometimes I need to see the main protagonist get bullied once and smash a crystal ball in the kid's face. It soothes me. Now granted, bullying is a tough thing to go through, but it's very refreshing to see a main character that's willing to piss in the wind and shit on the floor. Now as much as he doesn't care, it's clear that he's devoted to restoring the Melvinger name, and it's not like all the insults and verbal abuse never gets to him. The manhwa clearly shows that it does. However, Elric absolutely refuses to back down and he wants to achieve his goal, which is something I can 100% appreciate. Now the world itself isn't actually special, and to be honest, there's nothing that I have seen so far that is separated from any other fantasy world I've ever seen, which is kind of disappointing. That doesn't mean the world isn't stunning and immersive. It kind of is. The landscapes are beautiful, sure. However, nothing stands out, which I believe occurs a lot with magical based manhwa. I mean, have a little think. Imagine you're in a magical world where your wildest thoughts could run wild. You can control all basic elements with your mind and you can easily defy the laws of the known universe. Now, wouldn't you expect a world like that to feel rich, alive, and filled with magical history? Well, when reading this manhwa, I feel none of that. I feel as if the concept of a Demon King has been hijacked and thrown in for the sake of having an unimportant antagonist. This doesn't make the manhwa bad at all, but a little attention to the world would be great, because readers pick up on this stuff and it actually matters when building a story. I mean, look at One Piece. Part of the reason for its world-renowned success is because the characters we are watching are not just cool, but they're cool in a world that is rich in adventure, history, and a lot of the story is dependent on their geographical location. Why? Because the surrounding landscapes matter. It's not just the redesign of Fantasy World A, it's unique and has a little bit of character, which is one thing that the talent-swallowing magician lacks. Now, comparing a lot of things to One Piece is unfair, but it's pretty hard not to when it does so many things right. Now, saying this isn't me saying don't read it. I'm just saying if you like your fantasy trash, expect more or less of the same fantasy landscape. Fantasy world, medieval towns, and some form of ice region or water region. Now, this brings me to the climax. Read it. Why? Because it won't hurt to. I'm not making a major play saying it's going to change your life. Actually, I'm saying the literal opposite. I just think it's something you should keep up to date with. I can easily see some amazing moments from this manhwa, and I would absolutely hate for you to miss out on it.